Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a deck profile here for the Single Strike Urshifu VMax. Last time I did a deck profile on the Rapid Strike Urshifu VMax deck. This time I wanted to focus on Single Strike. Now, between the two decks, I will have to say that the Rapid Strike is definitely the stronger among the two, because of the fact that the Rapid Strike energy is naturally much faster given that it provides 2 energy at once. Whereas with the single strikes, you still have to attach 1 at a time, and you have a really expensive attack here. Being the G max 1 blow, it is 4 energy to deal 270 damage. The massive cost here is that you have to discard all the energy from this. That hurts so much. But that being said, it is usually that final attack that wins you that particular attack there, so you should be knocking out your opponent with that attack. If you aren't, don't use that attack. You have plenty of other options. Even the simple beatdown attack is enough to deal enough damage to your opponent to sort of set them up for the next blow. So usually you will need 2 attacks. If you're lucky, you might be able to do it with just the 1 attack, but it's very unlikely, and even then I wouldn't waste it by discarding 4 energy for it. I only do that in the circumstance where I know I will win the actual knockout. That's a matter of how the deck is built up, so this here is something I just really wanted to share with you guys. So if you guys do find out this video to be enjoyable by the end, definitely drop a like, share, comment and subscribe. It means a lot for the channel itself, just because we do need to get a bit more growth here. It already means so much if you would just watch another video. Now with that being out of the way, let's begin. So starting off, I'm going to be playing here my 3 copies of my Urshifu VMax single strike. This is the ratio that I personally chose for it. Of course, you don't necessarily need that many copies. However, given that it is 330 HP, it does a really good job of actually taking in a lot of that damage, and you simply can swap it out and it would still be safe. I'm also playing 4 copies here of Single Strike Urshifu V. This is something I found to be very useful because it alone can be your main attacker. Because Impact Blow, it requires 3 energy, but it deals 180. Combine that together with the beatdown, which is 100, that's 280 damage. Or you could use Impact Blow twice and you could get 360. The only reason I don't bring that up is because during your next turn, the Pokemon can't use Impact Blow on the following turn. So with that being said, if you're using Impact Blow and you know that you're getting really close to winning, just use the G max 1 blow to finish them off. It's usually the combination I like to use. Of course, it does look intimidating. 3 energy and 4 energy, that's a lot of cost for doing a somewhat mediocre attack. I mean, it's decent, but there are other Pokemon that can do better. But there is a speedy way of actually getting the energy attached to this. That particular card happens to be the Houndoom. Houndoom is an amazing card. Of course, it does require you to evolve into, but once during your turn, you could search your deck for a single strike energy and attach it to one of your single strike Pokemon. Shuffle your deck, and if you do so, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. There is something that will definitely work out well for that damage that you're incurring, but even so, this is the fast way to attach energy. If you happen to set 2 or 3 of these onto your board, you're essentially attaching all your energy at once, allowing you to dish out your attack. So it really speeds up the process, and that's sort of the argument between the single strike and the rapid strike, is that even though the rapid strike, it adds on 2 energy at once, as long as you're able to get 2 or 3 out here, you're sort of going at the same pace as the rapid strike deck in terms of energy speed. It's a matter of how you build your deck. Of course, you do need a bit of setup for this one, but even so, it definitely does a fine job at keeping up with the Rapid Strike. Onto trainers, we're going to be playing the one Iono. I am playing 3 copies of Research. I'm also going to be playing here 2 copies of Grant, just because we have our fighting Pokemon dealing 30 more damage. I find myself being a little bit short. Here's the thing, a lot of Pokemon out there are now less than 300. You see so many out there, and the 270 here that you're dealing, plus that 30 to get that 300 damage on the board, if it knocks out the opponent's Pokemon, it definitely is well worth it. So yeah, definitely fantastic. And you can also recycle Grant as well. To further up control this, we also are playing 4 copies of Boss's Orders. I really just want to know who I can knock out, and if I can knock it out, then Boss's Orders will do the job. I mean, there is Squawky. Squawky is one of those cards that nearly every deck has been playing now, but it's a measly 170 attack or 170 HP. So why not bring that out, get yourself 2 free prize cards, and you're a third of the way from winning the game. Now to wrap off with the supporters, I'm going to be playing 2 copies of Single Strike Style Mustard. Now of course, to play this card you have to have nothing else in the hand. This really does have to be the last card, but that's okay. With this deck, there are so many cards you're just discarding anyway, so it really does work out. Onto stadiums, I'm going to be playing 2 copies of Tower of Darkness, a very nice card that, although it allows you to draw 2 cards, that player also must discard a single strike card. So that's sort of the idea here, is to set yourself up. You can draw more cards, but it will eventually lead you down to emptying out your hand in a certain sense, so that you can use your Rapid Strike, or Single Strike Mustard that is. But moving on with the Single Strike support, I'm also going to be playing here 2 copies of Single Strike Scroll of Scorn. A very nice card, because this is where we incur that damage from the Houndoom. All that damage you've built up, we can use on this one singular attack, Furious Anger. It's 10 damage, however it does 10 additional damage for every damage counter on your Pokemon. So if you're also taking attacks from your opponent's Pokemon as well, mind you, you're at 330 HP. If your opponent recklessly puts on about 250 damage here, then you're dealing like 260 damage just from one energy of an attack. Very powerful, gives you that alternate option to potentially knock out your opponent's Pokemon. I'm also going to be playing 2 copies here of Urn of Vitality. Now, you're discarding your Single Strike energy cards. So how are you going to recycle them? Well, you play Urn of Vitality. Honestly, I might even want to play 4 copies of it, just because you are cycling things really quickly. Alright, so to further the consistency of this deck, I'm playing 4 copies of Ultra Ball, and I'm also playing 4 copies here of Chromatic. This just essentially allows you to search out any of your Pokemon, or search out any of your cards from your deck, and you have plenty of discard fodder anyway. It works well with the nature of this deck, being that you're playing Single Strike Style Mustard. We're also going to be playing more cards to discard, but Lost Vacuum also works by getting rid of really pesky tools or stadiums on the board. We're reaching near the end of the trainers, and I'm going to be playing 3 of the switch cards. Sometimes I might need a little bit of that heal, but to also be able to switch whenever I need to is definitely a great versatile option. We also have here the self-explanatory cards as well, Forest Steel Stone and Hussein Heavy Ball. Let's wrap things up here with the energy. We're going to be playing obviously 4 copies of Single Strike energy. I wish we could play more of it, but with that being said, it does help you deal 20 more damage. So if anything, if it brings you closer to knocking out your opponent's Pokemon, that's all the well worth it. Playing 2 copies of V-Guard energy, you are playing, against a lot of Vs out there, so this particular card allows you to take 30 less damage. It keeps you in the game running for a bit longer. I'm also playing 2 copies of Regenerative Energy. This allows you to heal 100 damage if you evolve the Pokemon V itself, so that's a huge deal and could really slow down the opponents. To wrap things up, we are also going to be playing just the 4 copies of Dark Energy. We can easily swap it out as well for 4 copies of Fighting Energy. It is completely up to you, and it still works out well because ultimately we just need that energy to deal onto the opponent. However, that pretty much wraps it up for this particular deck, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and definitely share me your builds as well, because there are so many different ways you could possibly play a deck even though you're utilizing the same Pokemon, and that's what makes this game so fun. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.